recording again. So Claire
Yes.
is in Roundhay Park this morning.
Yes, and I'm looking for fairies. Do you all believe in fairies?
I do. So that won't surprise you, will it? Does anybody else
No.
believe in fairies here?
I've never met a fairy.
But do you think we're going to find some evidence of fairies today, Claire?
I do, yeah. I am
What-
hopeful.
What makes you go to Roundhay Park looking for fairies? What kind of clues have you been given?
Well, a little bird told me once upon a time that they'd seen some little doors and things on trees, and I wonder if that's where the fairies live.
Was that a little bird in Gledhow Woods that told you that? A real little
Yes.
bird?
Yes, little black bird. Hello. Hello, little one. You're gorgeous. Yes, they made. Oh, another. Can I say hello to your dog? Thank you. Hello. Hello. Oh, lovely. Oh, thank you. Nice to meet you. They
So,
made. Sorry.
already on the dog score, we've had one little love in there, which is great. This is kind of how it goes. You know, it's not so the radio format is an hour long. With chitter chatters, people join us and they'll chat as well, and they'll also come and go. People might be doing some housework or work in the background, and then we'll output this as very raw, unedited YouTube content. It's very, very, very production room kind of basic here. And so we've invited you in the knowledge that there's gazillions of listeners who might not be able to join us this morning on Radio Funtime as part of Love to Play Festival. So we wanted to talk a little bit about digital play and talk about what's happened in the last year. And we've invited Kirsty and Halima all the way from Manchester because Zoom allows us to do that. And I'm looking at Sarah thinking it's because of Sarah that I really became aware of Media Cubs. And Halima's got a thumbs up there. Brilliant. And it's great to have, and you're 9, aren't you, Halima? So Halima's going to join in and ask some questions as well. And I'm hoping that I think she'll have some maybe directions for Claire as well while we're talking. And Kim as well from City Fibre, been a big supporter of things that you've of digital play in the city and what they do at these libraries. So it's really, I think the theme of today is about how we as humans have continued to try and find ways to keep going in a very difficult time, how we've connected digitally and how we can have playful digital lives as well as being out in the woods. So who would like, before we get going, to see a wonderful trailer that was made by Sonic Jean, who's 12 years old or 13 years old. You'll be impressed by this, I think. I'm going to share screen. Thank you.
Please.
So here we go. Oh, how awesome is that?
Love it.
It's really cool.
So cool. And we've got a little jingle as well that I'll share a bit later, but perhaps that's a nice way to introduce Kirsty and Halima from Media Cubs, find out a bit more about what you do and what sort of creative challenges you get up to. So Kirsty and Halima, do you want to give us a little bit of background as to Media Cubs and how it all works and how people can get involved in it?
Yeah, sure. So I go first, Halima. I'll be the big boss, you're the mini boss today. Yeah. Okay, so I'm Kirsty and I'm the project leader for Media Clubs, otherwise known as Big Boss. We all have code names in the newsroom that we can relate to. And Media Clubs has been going where we work in schools and community groups, but like everybody else during the pandemic, we've had to do a lot of different things where we want to make sure that we still reach lots of different children aged 7 to 11. So we brought our newsroom and pop-up TV studio online. So we have a virtual newsroom, which is where I really got the opportunity to reach a lot more children from lots of different places across the UK. Halima is based in London, so that we wouldn't have been able to meet without the virtual sessions because we'd been working predominantly across Greater Manchester. And Sarah's son, who also joins us, is in Leeds. That's right, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, that is right.
So it's been great to be able to have mini reporters across the country joining in with us. And what we do as part of our sessions, we hold a weekly newsroom meeting where we take on different media and creative challenges and digital challenges. So that's anything from comic strip making, TV presenting, newspaper reporting. And the idea is that we all get to create and debate and navigate news to give young people confidence to be able to know that their opinions matter, that they can turn those actions into opinions and create this new reality where we've got these young people who are going to be leaders of the future, journalists of the future, whatever they want to be, but giving them the confidence to be able to do that. So I'll let Halima tell you a bit about what she's enjoyed about being a mini reporter, shall I?
Yes.
Media coverage is really fun. I like all the activities we get to do and how even if you don't have the book, you can still do the stuff, and how we have what do you call it? We have the what's that first warm up?
You like the scavenger hunt.
Yeah, the scavenger hunt's really cool to get us ready. And so it's really fun and I enjoy it because there's all different children and I get to interact with them.
Yeah, so I should probably, if you don't mind me saying, Halima, what's great for Halima as well is like, she's homeschooled. So this is a situation where it's like she's getting to meet lots of different people from around the country and made some really good friends. And again, that's an opportunity that we wouldn't have had unless we were working digitally and online. So yeah, the challenges we love during the sessions, and I've got to give a special shout out to you as well, Halima, because also, like Claire, Halima has been a roving reporter for us around London during this time where she's spotted things that she thought we needed to know about and has done reports on them. So do you want to tell them about the one that you did with the fire station?
Well, in West Ham in Stratford, because we live next to there, there's this fire station where the first black man called Frank Bailey worked as a full-time firefighter. And so we made a report on that.
And it was absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much, Halima. So the idea is that they'll join in with the sessions, gain some confidence, skills and abilities to be able to go off and do them as well outside of the hour sessions that we hold each week. So Halima's a shining example of that and has been quite often been mini reporter of the week because of the challenges that she's done. So we have lots of fun together.
It sounds absolutely brilliant. And Sarah, you've had Joe's been involved in this. What's your perspective been from Joe's taking part?
So I wasn't sure how he would take to it. So kind of, I've always been in the room listening because if he does something new, I like to be around. But I think one of the big takeouts for me, and it's something that kind of resonated with me, is that you often see before lockdown, like families having dinner in restaurants or wherever, and the children are sat on iPads and they're having these big conversations. So they're talking about, I don't know, some sort of politics that are going on. And I think we forget sometimes that children are exposed to this information too, but they don't have a dialogue about it. They often don't have a forum to discuss it. And I found it really interesting that Joe was sat with a group of children his age. And I don't think it happens properly in schools either. I don't think they discuss current affairs in schools properly, especially in primary school. But they're sat having a current affairs conversation. And I thought, like, how valuable is this, to be heard as a child and to discuss with your peers, important issues of the day, of the time, because I think often, families get together, but they don't have that discussion with children and they're almost, like seen, not heard. So I think it's a wonderful forum as well for children to be heard and understand, why their opinion is important. So for me, that's been a really big takeaway. But I think Joe likes a bit of limelight, to be honest. I think he's a bit like me, so he gets to be a bit.
He's been fantastic. I've got to say, Joe brings such an energy to these sessions, and yes, doesn't shy away from, you know, his role is definitely, you know, we always ask them, what is it you enjoy? And we have the characters that we work with. So our main characters are all have different traits, and they take a quiz when they first join us to see which character they're most like. And you know, Joe was very much a mix between Archie, who's our main presenter leader, and also a little bit of Tycoon Raccoon, who's our baddie, because he told me that he really would like to make some money. So he had a mix there of what he wanted to do. But the different personalities that come into it, and you're so right, Sarah, like, children of this age don't get asked their views and opinions on these current affairs, and I've learned so much from them in terms of what they bring to these sessions and their views on it, which is just fantastic. For learning goes both ways, doesn't it? And the learning, the important part of it is that it's fun with the learning. You know, we love the Media Club's characters. We love to be able to get involved in them. They think up of their own creative stories to go along with the real life news agenda. So it's just been a great experience so far.
And on that note, I see Halima. Well, there's two things. Halima's said that Claire's distracting, which I totally agree, Halima. And Claire's asked you, have you got any tips, as you're a roving reporter yourself, and Claire's only really just getting started on this. Have you got any tips for Claire while she's walking about? What would you suggest?
Well, you can think of stuff that's interesting in your environment, environment you're in. You can, whatever you're doing now, if you're making a tree hut or something, that would be good. You can say that loads of people have been making tree huts. You can also start to get your own microphone. I have an inflatable microphone where I blow it up, and it's cool. And I also have a washing up sponge where it's a woman where afro, and her afro is the sponge, but I use it as a microphone too.
Much
And
love
got the
my
gear.
microphone.
This is
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you. Fantastic. Do you can you send me a link to that microphone, please? And I'll probably buy it for my next time.
I have to ask my mum because I can't remember where we got it from.
An inflatable microphone,
I
though. That sounds
love
very
that.
exciting.
Yeah,
We love
that's
all the
from
gadgets.
the Poundland. We thought it'd be perfect for Media Club.
I want to see that. So where
It
do we
sounds
tune in?
amazing.
So for all of us kind of either on this chat today in the friends room or watching it back later, what are the details that we can look for online to find out more about your reporting and how to join?
Yeah, so we have events on Eventbrite, but the best thing to do really is to visit our website, so mediaclubs.co.uk, and you can see where how you can join up with virtual sessions, how you can join in with our community sessions, and also the after school clubs that we're running. So the thing that's also been great about being virtually in the newsroom is that it's made us expand across the country. So we've now got other leaders apart from me, other big bosses who are going to be working in other parts of the country and across Greater Manchester too. So virtually, community and in schools, and it's all the details you can get on our website.
What age did you say it was from?
7 to 11. So we deliberately chose primary school because BBC does the school reporting for secondary schools, and as Sarah pointed out, you know, asking children at that younger age is really important to me because they're already shaping and forming how they feel about the world. So it's great for them to have those skills and confidence to be able to become part of a debating team when they go to secondary school or whatever it might be. And I should probably explain as well that my background is journalism. So I'm a qualified journalist. I worked at the regional newspaper, the Manchester Evening News, for 12 years. And it's just something that I'm really passionate about. And you know, I'm basically living my 9-year-old self through these mini reporters, because I would have loved to have joined in with Media Clubs when I was their age. And for those of you who might be of the similar age group to me, I won't make any judgment on that, but it's I grew up watching Press Gang. So it was like, you know, I wanted to be a part of that press gang. So Media Clubs and my mini reporters are my press gang.
I was older than this. My thing was, why don't you?
I remember that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how about you, Halima? What's your dream? Do you have a sense that you might want to be like a journalist? Or I mean, you are now already. What sort of thing do you want to do more of?
Well, being a journalist is fun, but I don't want to be that when I grow up. I want to have my own farm and let people like come in. My mum's going to help me because she likes writing and taking pictures. She's going to do that, make a website, and my brothers are going to visit. My brother says his family with sheep, and I'm gonna have sheep, so he's gonna see his other family.
She's already got her
Amazing.
own PR team going on there. It's by the
Yeah.
sound of it.
Got it all going on. Do you ever watch the Yorkshire Shepherdess on our Yorkshire farm? Halima.
I haven't actually heard of that
Oh,
before. There's a person called the Black Farmer, and Mum said once, all this, everything's open, we're going to go down and visit his farm so I can see what good advice there is from him.
amazing. And then you'll be able to do a report from it as well and share it with us.
Yeah.
This is excellent. Now, who would like to? I mean, actually, before I go on to the spinner wheel of questions, which my daughter's created, I noticed that Claire has said in the comments that she's lost. And Sarah suggested that maybe go back and find an ice cream. Is that right? Find the ice cream. Claire, are you okay?
Yeah.
What's happening? I can see it. Is that a stream? Is that a path?
Yeah, I'm completely lost, but I do tow a stream. I've gone down from the lake because that's where I towed the fairy houses were based, but now I'm completely lost. So I'm just going to keep going because you find some wonderful, playful things when you are lost. I think it's the best of times. I've just seen a plant that I don't recognise, and it looks like something from Jurassic Park. But yeah, I'll try get back on track and find an ice cream and these fairies as well. Because I do think if you're a fairy, you might be quite deep in the woods. So it's maybe not on the normal track.
Yeah, you
And
might have to work for your fairies.
but I think I have to be careful because I've heard of a folk tale where if you enter a fairy ring, they take you and they make you dance and dance and dance and dance and dance, and you don't know that your life is disappearing just from dancing.
And then you
I'm
might
going
be
up
there
here
for
now,
another
so the time
100
at my-
years.
That sounds like you've been reading some Terry Pratchett there, Claire.
You should try and find a map to see where you are, like on your phone, to see the park map to see when you're where you want to be. You can find some ice cream.
That's a
Get up.
very sensible idea. I will try and find one.
So
Whew,
I would
get
like
out
to
there.
ask, while Claire's going up the stairs, so we're not listening to her huff and puff, I'm going to ask Halima, if this is okay, if you'll answer one of the questions of the spinner wheel, and I'm not going to spare you and Sarah and Kim this later in the chat, okay? So fingers crossed it's a kind one. So Halima, are you ready for a question from the spinner wheel?
Okay.
Okay, let's see if we can bring it up. So the wheel of names, there's about 20 questions I've inset here. Oh no, that's an awful question. I might spin it again. This one is, I think, a bit of a joke because when we asked what questions would you really like to ask, Wendy said, why? Does anybody want to answer that? Why? Or shall we spin the wheel again?
Spin again.
Spin again. I think that was
I would also say, why not?
exactly good answer. Oh, this is a good one. I like this one. What's the most awkward situation you found yourself in public? Now, if Halima doesn't want to answer that, someone else can jump in.
Oh, that's a tricky one, Halima, isn't it?
I don't actually know. I don't think the most one would be if Mum danced. If Mummy- but Yeah, I don't think anything else really.
That's pretty embarrassing though, isn't it? My daughter and my son have forbidden me to get in anywhere near to their playground at school because I might sing or I might dance.
Yeah, it's when mum sings and dances. And sometimes, you know, when my brother, she sometimes just acts weird and is quite embarrassing. So me and him like just walk in front and say we don't know this person because we don't be embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, as a mother, I quite enjoy winding my children up, if I'm honest, by threatening to dance or sing or anything that they're just going to be mortified by. So we know that, I think, as you get older and you're like, I'm not with her, I don't know her.
I would agree with that, particularly now mine are 15 and 12 and both boys, that just breathing, I embarrass them, I think.
Yeah, I bought a pair of shoes at the beginning of lockdown that were comfy for walking in, but they are actually made for sort of much older people. They're called comfy something or other. As my son was like, you're not coming anywhere near my school, which was a new school, wearing those shoes. So I have to sort of walk behind him. So we're just literally embarrassing, I think, as parents. What about Kim? What would your answer to that question be?
Well, I do actually have a situation. I used to run and be involved in a play group, and we used to go through the woods near Meanwood. And I didn't tend to go very often because it was risky play. So people were allowed to climb trees and do mud pies and very interesting things. And because my children were in it, sometimes I had to pretend to not watch what they were doing. So I went along only on a rare occasion. And one time I decided I was going to try and climb a tree with them. And I climbed up the tree fine. But unfortunately, on the way down from the tree, I caught a branch and ripped a hole all the way along the length of my trousers. So I had to very carefully walk all the way home and change my trousers and come back out again. So
It's both painful and embarrassing.
I have to say it wasn't painful in any shape or form, and I enjoyed the climbing of the tree because I could still get up there. But yeah, it was definitely embarrassing, but I think it was embarrassing more for my children than it was for me.
But memorable, nevertheless. What about you, Sarah? I can't imagine you doing anything embarrassing ever in public.
That. Do you know, I was trying to think of something that I could talk about on this because everything's a little bit too embarrassing.
That's our nighttime show sorted then.
Yeah, I was thinking if we were doing the evening slot, I can think of a few things. Things that I do that are embarrassing. I mean, obviously I embarrass my son. And we walk a fine line of what's appropriate as a mum and not. And like this morning, I dropped him off at football camp this morning and, you know, went to give him a kiss. And it's like, oh, there's 50 boys here. And like, my mum is kissing me. This is the worst thing ever. So it absolutely is that fine line. Things that I've done embarrassing. I mean, I'm a faller over. So I fall over at the worst time. So I've fallen over in many important meetings, you know, like you walking in to see a client and I've fallen onto the floor. That is my go-to mistake, is falling in front of rooms of people at important times. That is absolutely it. Often with a bleeding knee.
Oh,
yeah.
Properly falling over.
I'm a real good faller over.
But I think you style it out, Sarah. You really, you know, I think part of being embarrassed is realizing that you are only human, and it sometimes breaks the ice when things like that happen in events. So I've seen, and I know you style it out, so it's fine.
I just think I'm clumsy, but I do accept who I am, and I think that's the thing, you know, like if you know who you are and you can accept your flaws, then I think that's okay.
Claire had a little tumble yesterday, didn't you, Claire?
Oh,
Are you still there, my love?
Yep. Yes, tumbled down a hill live on a Zoom event, which was fantastic.
That was a deliberate tumble, that one, I hasten to add. We egged her on a little bit and said, would you roll down a hill?
Yeah.
And she,
yeah. It's fantastic. It hurts as an adult, but it's worth it. You feel quite energized.
And you did do a dog poo check beforehand, didn't you, to make sure
I did,
that
very important.
that would
very
be
important.
embarrassing.
Yes,
What have we found?
I found this fantastic den. So looks like it's, you know, quite a good engineering skills to put it together. And then they've put some foliage and pine needles and things. So I bet it smells quite nice inside.
You're going to
Can't
get in?
smell anything. Yeah, shall I try? Oh,
Yeah.
I have to get on my knees. Oh gosh.
I went to my friend's Grace and Ellis with my brother. Because they don't live in London, so we had to travel up there. But this was before lockdown. We went to a forest because there's a big forest there, and we bought a cordon with there was some seats for little tree stumps, so we put them in there like seats, and then there was this little like signpost we put up there, which looked like a post to our den.
And
Really
this was
cool.
This sounds amazing. Do you think you'd have like that kind of stuff on your farm as well, Halima?
Maybe we're going to have some. I'm going to have an area where people visit. They can set up their own camp, or we can have a caravan instead that they have. And then I'm going to have an animal area where I have animals, and then I'm going to also have little space for animals to run around. I'm going to have a little pond where some ducks are going to be, and gonna have an area for some plants to grow some vegetables.
This sounds
So
dreamy.
maybe I'll have a nice big house, but I'm going to have a place where all
Oh,
the
you're
children,
gorgeous. Gorgeous.
all the
Hello.
children can
Hello, you big stick.
play.
Have you seen any fairies?
I think
you?
Claire's just found a friend here. Hang on 1 second.
Lovely. Have you
Has she
seen any
found any?
fairy houses? Yeah, I'm all right. Fairy houses. He's stealing my stick. Fairy houses. So unlike trees, there might be like a little door for the fairies, little people to go in.
Yeah, there are an entrance.
In the entrance up there.
Yeah, you want for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, where the kids play, no? Yeah.
Oh, I'm completely in the wrong place.
It's not far.
Okay. All right, I'll have a look. Yeah. Can I have my stick back, doggo? Thank you. Thank you. No, take care.
No.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
He's cute. The dog's cute.
Did you let him have your stick, Claire?
No. Why would I do that?
You're not sharing. So Kim and
No.
Sarah, you've worked with Claire, haven't you, on various different projects? Kim, to put a little bit of a spotlight on you whilst Claire's going back to the entrance to find the fairy doors. How have you and Claire been involved in stuff together?
So Claire, as I'm sure she's probably said on some of these, works for 100% digital. So she is all things digital and does a fantastic job working with young people and families across Leeds. And we, as City Fibre, we bring broadband into Leeds, and we were looking for ways to help support young people to consider coding and just generally feeling more comfortable about using computers. So we had been talking to Claire about maybe doing some sort of event with her, roughly sort of a year ago. And then obviously COVID happened, and Claire did the most amazing job, her and the team, turning something around very quickly with the libraries in Leeds to put on a coding competition for young people and their families across Leeds. And I think we had 20 or 25 families in that very first group of sessions that went through. And I have to say it was a bit scary for everybody this time last year, scary for the grown-ups and scary for the adults. And it was a little, to me, the weekly calls that we would do and jump into the coding which they were using Scratch to design computer games. And that was probably the highlight of my week, getting involved in those sessions with the young people. Because as Claire will tell you, I'm probably not a particularly, even though I work in tech, I'm not I can't design a computer game. So I'm in awe when young people were able to get pterodactyls coming down and, as I recall, squashing watermelons and just doing all these really interesting things. And each young person would do a level. And then at the end of the series, they put all the levels together into one just fantastic computer game. And I know, and I'm sure the library guys won't mind me saying, you know, they did put on some examples, but their imagination was nothing compared to the young people, because they'd understand, you know, they were breaking the rules of gravity and just having fun with it. And I'm sure Claire will tell you she had the best time just, you know, this time last year, having that fun, and that's something that was carrying on even though the schools were closed. And we help support it by just encouraging the families and the young people to go through all the different levels and learn all the different things. But I think Claire and I probably got as much out of it personally as the young people and families. You agree, Claire? You
Completely. Oh, I absolutely adore it. We're still, yeah, so we're still going on with it. We set challenges every month, like Kim said. At the moment, they're trying to code a microbit as a hobby horse. So they have to go out into the woods and they have to find like bits of wood and stuff and then make it into a hobby horse. Ooh, I found something. And then they put a microbit on it, and then they, depending on what they do and what they've coded, the microbit is an eye and it goes into a trance. So it's very fun coding, very creative. And like Kim said, they all did a level of a game, and our librarian Liam put it all together. So and the parents joined it as well, I think. They love it as well. So it's just lovely to feel connected and use your imagination with code and digital in lockdown. And we're very grateful to Kim, because once the families have done 3 challenges, they can get a £20 Pomeroni voucher, which means they can get some really cool coding equipment, which is just, you know, stuff that they might not have been able to afford previously. I'm just gonna get my breath back. I'm so unfit.
Fitter than a great deal, many of us, I'm sure.
I found something.
100,000 steps, I think, this week, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready then to reveal something, or do you need to take a deep breath?
I mean, this is big. Are you ready?
Yes. Come on.
Are you ready?
You found a fairy.
I
Evidence
found
of
a
fairy?
house.
Oh,
Look
wow.
at this.
Wow.
This isn't just any average kind of
huge.
fairy house.
Look at these little steps, a little door. Someone's labelled them so you can learn your shapes as you go. And then they obviously like media, because they've got a fantastic aerial on top of their house in the form of this.
They've got wind
A
power.
little chimney, yeah. Oh, then maybe that's what it is. It's an eco home, isn't it? Obviously.
Well, these fairies are well ahead of the game, really, aren't they? They could teach us a thing or two about renewables. Solar
Yes.
power,
Look at that.
wind power.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if Kevin
Fantastic.
McLeod has visited. You know, the fairy Kevin McLeod of the Grand Designs world really needs to come here.
Look at these little seats.
Oh,
That's adorable. So there's definitely fairies in here. Definitely.
I don't think it's any average kind of fairy kingdom. That looks kind of quite
Well, it's
something,
Leeds, isn't
doesn't
it?
it?
Leeds is the best for everything.
Is that
Does
right?
it do things for half? By half?
Maybe Halima will have something to say on the subject, and so like Kirsty from Manchester and London, but we task you, that's your task, you two, go and find a better fairy palace than that one, if you can.
We'll do our best.
Oh.
I think there's some more actually, but I've not seen one as impressive as that. I've got to admit, Leeds can have that one.
Do you think we might win a competition? We get to win something, yay!
I have a fairy house in my
Oh, carry on, Halima, sorry.
fairy house in my house. There's
Wow, maybe you could share a bit of a report on that, if you haven't already.
for and fairy dust.
You've got fairy dust as well? I
No,
think Claire was just in another den then. Did you manage to... Here we go, look
Yeah,
at that.
you can walk into this. I feel like
Yeah,
there's been a lot of people working on that.
when we did like
Is this like your den that you had, Halima?
yeah, just bits smaller than
Okay. It's impressive. I feel like this is what everyone's been doing in lockdown, building their second home in Roundhay Park. Oh my, there's loads.
It's like a whole village is sprung up there.
I'm gonna live here.
Kind of stuff that Claire does as well is that whilst a lot of the digital projects you work on are you know, like looking at microbits and coding, you do sort of bring together literature, books, and like your hobby horse thing is kind of got wood involved. It's really lovely in terms of that whole bringing together, you know, old-fashioned materials and digital, and I think that makes it quite a tactile, hands-on experience as well. I think Leeds libraries, I don't know what it's like elsewhere, but Leeds libraries are a real treasure in Leeds. They're very, very creative.
Thank you, Emma. I think we're
great.
very lucky because we have all of our collections and archives and, you know, stories and books, and they can bring anything alive, can't they? So it's a lovely offer that we can put together. And we've worked with BJSS as well, which Sarah now works with. We've done like a young person's engagement program with lots of different hacks that we did. And a lot of our projects are now based on the climate emergency and the environment and looking at solutions. So kids are kind of thinking creatively, using code and building things to solve problems, which is brilliant. Got a bit serious there, sorry.
Here we go. Before we get too serious, look, here's another beautiful.
And then we've got like a little ladder. There's a lot of kids here having a good time, looking for the fairy houses. Can't find any more on this tree.
That one
Ooh, I
felt
think
quite
there's one over
discreet in
there.
comparison. So if this was Ben and Holly's Magic Kingdom, I think that's more sort of, you know, modest, that particular one.
look for big that might be where the queen fairy lives. If you find a with loads of those.
What did you say, Halima? My audio is a little bit rubbish.
And you might see, and might be where the queen lives. With it has nice ornaments.
I can't hear you, Halima.
Pardon?
I can't hear you very well. Try to keep your microphone. Stop squiggling it around.
You might the queen there.
I think Halima's been groomed. We've got the robot version of her now, haven't we?
So Sarah, I think Claire was sort of mentioning that BJSS has got involved in supporting digital and play in Leeds. Would you share a little bit more about that? What you've done?
I'm going to be real honest. I've been at BJSS for 3.5 months, so I do not know the in-depth of what BJSS has done previously. So I cannot share that. But what I do know is that BJSS was started in Leeds. And so because of that, you know, the head office is there. There is nearly 500 people based out of the city. So particularly Leeds and the region is really, really important for a couple of reasons, you know, and I think one of them is that, you know, we have to support the children and young people in our city if we want to continue growing and we want to do the right thing for where we live. So it's really important, and there are many opportunities that BJSS will take in order to do that. So the most recent I could think of is, you know, their Help the Heroes posters that are all over the cities, the thank you posters.
Yes.
So, you know, completely anonymously, you know, sponsored those to make those happen, you know, to get those posters up. And I think there's just a real care for every city that BJSS touches. So Leeds is extra special because, you know, we all live here, and it's, you know, it's headquartered, but actually it's a bit like Kim and City Fibre. When we go into a city, it's really, really important that we give back to that city. We're part of the ecosystem, and I, you know, really believe that children and young people are the people that, you know, we want to help and engage and change, and they're the, you know, the people who change the future, aren't they?
Totally. And I think, like it's been said already, is that their imaginations are off the scale, and sometimes as adults we've got a bit limited in our thinking somewhat, and so creating that space for them to tell us, you know, to show us really their worlds and what matters to them. I think quite often they look at some of the problems that we're trying to solve and think, that's so simple. why are you making it so complicated? And actually when you do see it through their eyes, you think, actually, how have we made it all so complicated?
And also,
The other thing of being in Yorkshire is it's one of the best places in the world to work in gaming. There are so many gaming companies in and around Yorkshire that, you know, it's having that imagination and the ability to tell a story or be able to design something or design a fairy house in the way that Claire's looking at now. It's so important that people are allowed to use their imagination to think about the potential of what not just a game is going to be like, but what the future is going to be like, and make it fun. So, you know, Leeds and Yorkshire as a whole is a brilliant place to have fun in digital.
agree.
I think so. It really feels like people want to work together well as well. There's a very collaborative feel across Leeds and Yorkshire. I think in that sense of how can we make even better things happen? How can we weave and, you know, support each other's efforts? And I think that's what this is about. I think it'd be great to have a media clubs in Leeds. We've done something called YouTube Makers Club, which was very sort of physical, hands-on making stuff and then making your own videos, the kids making their own videos of the stuff that they've made, like little instructables, you know, so you might have seen the sort of tasty BuzzFeed style, you know, how to make slime, make that in a minute. So they learned sort of editing and production skills, and some wanted to be in front of the camera, some didn't. And COVID didn't really sort of make that such a fun experience to try and recreate online, even though we did carry on and we did Bakers Club as well, which actually did work quite well because everybody wanted to eat and bake. But you know, I think it's about those creating spaces really, isn't it, for young people to do more of what they love doing, number one. And if it's slime, which it kind of was for quite a while, great, let's go with slime. But then actually they introduce to each other things that, you know, we don't even know are exciting. And you can witness that as they're sort of showing each other, like TikTok dancing, for example. I wouldn't profess to be any good at TikTok dancing, and my daughter absolutely forbid me to try at YouTube Makers Club. She came along to everything and she's like, "You're not allowed to do that, Mum. That's horrific." But you get to really have an ear to the ground of what's important. And I think our job really is to then step back a bit and just let more of that good stuff happen. So
Yeah.
who would like a question from the spinner wheel? And we've got silent guests here who are probably listening in, wishing that they too could chip in and maybe have a go on the spinner wheel. Does anybody particularly want to answer a question this morning?
I'll answer a question.
Excellent, Malou. Here we go. You can see I have a lot of pleasure with this thing. Ooh, there's lots of double letters here. If you had to turn into an animal, what animal would you choose? And that question wasn't actually asked by my daughter. That was Linda Petty.
I would turn into a jaguar.
You seem quite emphatic about that. Something you thought about before?
It's my favorite animal. They're just so cool. They're big cats with really nice furry coats. They can actually take down a crocodile because they're that strong. And they're just great. They just hang out in the jungle.
I think that sounds pretty. Is it like the king of cats?
I guess it's generally agreed that the lion is the king of cats, but I think jaguars are cooler. And
They
they're
never get
Mexican
to
as well,
meet.
like me. So that makes them extra cool.
I think Halima's got a hand up. Do you want to answer that question as well, Halima? I think your microphone is a little bit crackly at the moment.
Can I explain for, because I bet I know what she was going to say, because I know the answer to this for Halima, which is quite random that I know the answer to this, isn't it? But so as I said before, in Media Club we have code names, and sometimes Halima is H Girl, but sometimes she's also Black Panther. So her favourite big cat, and so she's got something in common with you there, Malou.
Yeah, panthers are actually jaguars, except they are just totally black, but they're the same. They're the same cat. Yeah, they're the same animal. So super cool.
There's a brilliant book we read. Oh no, it's going to escape me. About about jaguars in the Mayan. I'll try and remember. I think we've got some chat going on here as well. There's a bit of argument going on about which are the best animals and what you'd be. So Bobby says he would be a monkey. And then we've got Penny. Ooh, tigers are better than lions and jaguars are cooler than both. I'd be a sloth or sloth. I don't know quite how you're supposed to pronounce it, but they come down from their tree once every week. I mean, that's kind of good, isn't it? And they spend most of their time sleeping on a branch. And all sorts of weird things can grow in their fur, so they're a habitat for other things in the forest, in the rainforest. What's not to like about being a sloth? Sloth. Sloth.
I'd go sloth, but
I'd say sloth. Sloth is the posh way to say it, I think. Sloth.
I mean sloth.
Have you ever been to
I'm
the
a
Natural
fancy
History
sloth.
Museum and seen the giant sloth? It's
Where?
the Natural History Museum, and if you go in,
No.
and everybody heads for the big, or when Dippy used to be there, or the big ones, but the best one is the giant sloth, because he's about twice your height, Emma. He is huge, and he has got talons like this, but he just
A real one?
a skeleton of a real one.
Oh yes, yeah. Go for that reason alone, just to be terrified by the giant sloth. I know, Halima, your hand's been up. Is your microphone working now?
It should be working. Can you hear me?
A little bit. You're a little bit crackly.
put it in the chat.
Yeah, do you want to ask your question in the chat? If you type it out, we'll ask it.
No pressure, Halima.
We're waiting.
Everyone's staring at the.
I'll let you know. So I put in the chat that I would be a news hound, of course, if I would be an animal. And there's actually some characters that we use within media clubs, because we all live in this city of Colchester, and Betty Hound is the editor, so that is my persona in there. So I do have an alter ego that I work with.
Are you actually like a hound dog, when the ones with the sort of like big droopy kind of...
That is exactly how I feel through the pandemic, yes. Definitely more droopiness going on since the pandemic hit.
You can sniff out a good story, and that's what I'm guessing here.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Whilst you're pounding the pavements. What about you, Sarah? What would your...
Do you know what? I absolutely would be my dog Frank, because I think like he gets to live my life, but he doesn't have to go to work. He doesn't have to pay any bills. He doesn't have to worry about anything, but he gets to live my life. And I think I would be Frank. He is living the dream.
Yeah, he's getting all the best stuff, isn't he?
He gets all the best bits. He gets
to sit on your lap and attend all the meetings.
I think he's just, currently he's not doing stuff. He's just waiting for this to end for another cuddle. That's life.
Oh, I think we've designed life all wrong somehow, haven't we?
Yeah.
Maybe we could all be pets for a day. Potentially. Maybe that's not such a good idea. Who's going to feed us?
I would like
Halima's
to be a
told us that
bird.
Sloth. Come on then, Claire. Where are you as a bird's eye view of Roundhay Park right now? What can you see?
I can pretty much see just trees at the moment. I'll just turn my camera around so you can see. I'm just coming out, and I'm just right at the top by the cafe, the mansion. But is it the cricket grounds down there?
It really is stunning,
It's just
isn't
a very
it?
nice atmosphere. Yeah.
Are there
It's
any
lovely
hills
here.
to
I
roll
spent a lot
down?
of lockdown coming over here. So it's a very big hill to
I
roll
thought as
down.
much. Would you fancy that one? Who dares
Let me,
Claire?
I'll have a
Actually,
little
that
look.
rhymes. This is good. Who dares Claire?
That could be the next series, Emma, for the summer holidays. Who dares
think?
Claire? Yeah,
She'd be so up for it.
she would. We could just put suggestions
would
in
be.
advance.
Halima, what do you in chat? Why don't we all put something for Claire to be dared to do?
Yes.
No nakedness and no running, but otherwise anything goes.
No. Right, let's have a look at this chat.
So far they're going kind on
What have we
you.
got?
I think it's time now we can use the chat
Good.
to give Claire some instruction. I think you should get an ice cream personally before lunchtime. That's a decadent thing to do.
I think I have. Oh yeah, I should go. I can go up to the mansion and get one from there, or I have to go all the way down to the lake and get one from there. But I kind of need to get back to work at some point.
Okay, we've got a
today.
handstand, a forward roll. Halima, I'm afraid she's not going to run up a hill. She's already said that she's not doing any running. No running.
No running.
Cartwheel.
What's the dizzy dog?
Penny, what's
Yeah.
a dizzy dog?
What does?
I'm going to have to unmute myself now, aren't I? Didn't you not do this when you were at school? You just spin round and round and round and round and round until you fall over.
Yes, I did. I was sick once.
Maybe we
I
recreate
took
that
it
magic
too
moment.
far. Right,
That's the
I'm
end
on
of the
it.
show, isn't it?
Oh,
I
oh
really do
no.
think that's how we kind of fade out, is Claire sort of making herself ill through dizziness and then having
Broke
an
my
ice cream.
stick.
Fight
Right,
a
okay.
tree. This is good. Not hug a tree. I don't
Oh God.
think you can fight a tree.
This feels like a jinx game, drinking game. I don't think that's the last time I did this.
Claire's doing the dizzy dog.
I can't see and I can't...
Penny.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we warned you this show was deeply dizzy and dippy, and yeah, that's all.
Give me a minute.
That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for falling over for us, Claire.
Thank you. Are you all right?
Oh, I love you.
More good, thank you. That was
Oh,
fun.
it's fun.
I'm far away from where I started.
So before we go and Claire gets her breath back, we've got 5 minutes left. Is there anything that you wish you'd said during this hour that we didn't ask you because we got sidetracked by other things? Is there something that you think, I really wish you'd asked this question? What you want to ask yourselves? You know, anybody can chime in at this point.
I wouldn't say there's a question, but I just would say we should all play more. It's just a simple statement. We should all try and have fun and everything.
I totally agree. I think I could have, that's like the perfect thing to say, isn't it? And I don't know, I mean, I always think you're playful when I see you, Kim, and I just think you kind of exude it. And I'm glad to get sat next to you at award ceremonies, for example. If you want to invite me to any more, that's a hint, by the way. So, you know, how do we do that? Because sometimes life doesn't always feel as playful as You know, the pandemic has shown us. How do we play more? What would you recommend?
I think being like Claire, be more Claire and get out, be outside, do a dizzy dog now that I know there's a name for it, and go hunt for fairy houses. I just, you know, all of us can do it. Why not?
And climb a tree without fear of ripping your...
Or do it even if you know you are going to rip your trousers.
Yeah, I love it. What about you, Sarah?
Do you know what I think? I think sometimes, you know, we say we could play more, we could do it, but actually, as a parent, I often say no. And I think as parents, we often say no when we could say yes, and it would be better to say yes. And I think we have to like listen to the requests of our children that little bit more and take more times to say yes to them. So when they say, can you come outside and play swing ball with me? And you're thinking, oh, I'm busy, blah, blah, blah. Like, say yes more often, like just go and do it, and don't think, well, if I don't do that, I don't get this work done. I think it's that thing is saying yes to more requests.
That is brilliant. I totally agree. My kids have been like, Mum, what are you playing? I'm like, look, I've got this thing called Love to Play to do. Just sod off. I'm the most unplayful person putting this on.
And would we be more creative if we'd just been out and had 20 minutes swing ball and a conversation? Would we, you know, be that little bit more fun or interesting in our day work? I don't know, but I think saying yes is something we should try and not say so many no's.
I absolutely agree with that, and agree with the work element of it too. So, you know, just allowing yourself that space to have some fun with your children, by yourself in the park like Claire's doing, spinning around. It's you then, when you get back to the work element of your life, that actually you enjoy it more. Two, it brings a different thought process to everything that you are doing within those in the boundaries of work. So, you know, yeah, say yes more. That is a great one. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to start this afternoon. Thanks, Sarah.
Amazing. Perhaps that's our tweet of today's show. It's Love to Play 2021 hashtag. And then maybe just say yes more, you know, just remind ourselves, and we can egg each other on as well. I mean, we're all quite good at that, I think. So if you need to check in with your accountability buddies, your egg honors. Claire, how you doing? In the final minute that we've got, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good. Feeling energized, not in pain. I'm all good. I think I am feeling, like you say, I'm more productive, even though I'm taking this hour off to go and, you know, play around in a park and stuff. I think I've got more energy this week for work because of it, which is really nice. And yeah, can't wait to do some canoeing tomorrow.
Yeah, so the challenge was to skate down the middle aisle of Aldi and get a kayak, because that is the normal thing you get in the middle of but someone else suggested they already had an inflatable kayak, and they're over in Beeston Holbeck, which is a South Leeds for those who don't live in Leeds. And so Claire is heading over tomorrow to be on dry land, I believe.
Yeah, I've not got the skills to actually kayak yet, so it'll be safely on a street. Yeah. No, Sarah, I don't want to end up in the canal.
I can see Jane Inshall's lurking in the background. She may or may not actually be anywhere near her microphone, but I do know Jane has a river transport thing. I want to say kayak, but I'm not sure that is a kayak. Jane?
Didn't Jane build it? I'm sure I saw that she was building it on Instagram.
Hello.
Yes, I do have a boat. In fact, I have two boats, and Claire, you are right. I did make one of them.
Amazing.
Yeah, you can see it tomorrow. I'll show you tomorrow.
Yes, so Jane's on tomorrow from her shed.
From my
her
shed.
woodshed.
Indeed, live from the woodshed.
Will your boats be there so that we can do that? That would look like that was almost planned, wouldn't it?
My boat is outside the woodshed, so I can show you. And
so we also have the Chief Executive of Leeds City Council on with us tomorrow. Us girls rocking, right? Are there any questions we want to put towards Tom Reardon? Because he's game for anything. He really is. He says yes without knowing what this is all about.
I think we should challenge him. He should be challenged, like challenge Claire, challenge Tom, get him to climb a tree and go kayaking.
Shall we?
Can he do a dizzy dog tomorrow?
Yeah.
Don't get me to do a dizzy dog in front of my big boss man.
Yeah, I
Need
don't
to
want
keep
either of
myself-
you two behaving yourselves. That would be very disappointing. So dizzy dog for Tom,
It's
and any more suggestions or prompts that we need to put in for Claire, Jane? We've got Rebecca from Arts Kaizen, which is based over in York. We've got Penny's friend Claire. Oh, it's not Claire Bray, is it? I've forgotten her. So Nikki Bray, who has got the most amazing song that she's created for Love to Play, which is called Rapple Juice. It's kind of side splitting, I think is probably the best way of putting it. So you can obviously join us tomorrow as guests and friends, or you might have work to do. Boo. And this will be put up unedited on YouTube at some point. And if you are free at 12 o'clock today, there's still time to draw an alpaca. So Wendy Denman has teamed up with Louise Atkinson, and they are down at Meanwood Farm with real live alpacas
Amazing.
to do an hour of sketching an alpaca. We've got a chat with some amazing people from Dublin called A Playful City, and they work a lot with teenagers to reclaim their space and give teenagers a place in their city and designing their city for themselves. They're brilliant. And then we've got Seb Leila Delisle, we'll edit that bit. He was responsible for the massive laser show of Light Night this year, just gone, which was 25 lasers over 7 different buildings. And he's going to talk about lasers and robots and all sorts of stuff. And Light Night is an amazing festival. So what did they manage to pull off during a pandemic, and what makes for a city play? We've also got Games Jam, I think, have we not, Claire, at Leeds Libraries today?
Yes, so we've got a fantastic Liz Cable doing an event for us from 6 o'clock tonight, and that's themed on our Games Jam, where we're asking people to create a board game, tabletop game, digital game, any game you fancy, and it's based on the 100 novel list by the BBC. So yeah, show teaches that. And then we've got Cards or Die with Anne Jones tomorrow as well, where you can learn all about different types of games as well. She's fantastic.
So it's a bit of a packed day, and just things that are rumbling on all week are create a space den. This could be for you as well, Halima. It's anywhere in the world. Make your own space den, send pictures of it, and there's some prizes up for grabs. And that's all on lovetoplay.fun as the website. Chalk for your life. So if you've got some chalk, go out and draw some drawings. Again, use the hashtag and share it. And finally, on Saturday, we've got Hobby Horse Day. So everybody can groom their broom. Sorry. Yeah. So anybody can take part in that as well, and that's with Codswallop. So thanks ever so much for joining, everybody. And Halima, I'm impressed with your dizzy dog. You're definitely spinning in my look at you. Maybe everybody should do a little spin, and then we should off we pop to go and do some other work. Shall we? We'll do a quick spin and go.
Oh, yeah.
I fell down and I got basically straight away to another one.
Yeah, I want your energy, Halima. I need to channel that for the rest of the day.
Oh,
Go
so
have
dizzy.
fun. Love you all. Wow.
Bye.
But yes.
You all right, my love? I'll stop recording now.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, how's your trail going, Malou?
It's I mean, it's going well. I don't know